sun's a little bright. All right, we did subnetting last week. Y'all got any questions on the basic subnet? You had chapter 7 through last week. My calendar. I think 8, which I haven't drawn the line on there, see? Yeah. So you've got 8 actually. The next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess really effectively it comes to. So we've got chapter 8 this week and next week, which is really where you're getting into the subnetting deeply on. But really that effectively covers it over 3 weeks, because after next week, so we got this week on it and next week, and then the following week will be spring break. So the test is not due for 3 weeks from today. Does that make sense? So, chapter 8. And that's a harder chapter for you, okay? Although, like I say, we've already gone over part of it. And actually, I'm going to go over the other part today, but we'll go over more of it Wednesday, and then we can go over next week on whatever out of the chapter. So I'm going to show you the VLSM today, at least show you one illustration of it. And we may be out early today. It's right here. Y'all have not had a lot of questions on it, so I've not spent a whole lot of time on it. Now, make sure that you have been doing all your work. I think I transferred y'all's grades from your test grades over from Cisco to Blackboard yesterday. I think I transferred all of them except for chapter 7, which is due today. Because there's a couple of you I think had taken it, but I may not have transferred y'all's class. I don't remember. I think I did. Did anybody notice if I had? Now, I have not transferred the other way, that I haven't started on that. I think all of you have given me your permission slip, but in my online class, there's a number of them have not, and I'm trying not to confuse myself too much yet. Yeah, all of you have given me your permission slip, and so I have not. But I have not transferred y'all's grades yet. I'll probably work on that this afternoon, of transferring from Cisco to NetAcad. I know I did it in the online class. I know I did it in the 2601 class, which at least one of you is in. And then actually I've gotten some of my classes actually set up for the rest of the semester. Now, even if I get y'all's finished set up for the rest of the semester, which it may or may not be, I'm pretty sure it's not, I'll still have to activate tests each week on it. Because if I try to activate them too much into the future, sometimes there seems to be problems on that. Particularly would have been last week when we had the time change. That every time I've done things ahead of time on activating stuff in Cisco, when the time change occurs, all the stuff I had in there set ahead to do time change, all of a sudden went out the window. So I've just given up on that of activating off into the future. But setting up the schedule all out in through there and your assignments, hopefully I can get that worked on. So this weekend I did work on that. So I ended up staying here because I've got a hose on my car that is semi-leaking. Has been for a couple of weeks. And when I went to leave town on Friday, I went to Villanelle, and where Keon Falls is out there at the pocket, that there's a trail up to it for about a mile. Been up there a couple of times, been up there when there was no water flowing on the falls, and I went, there's water flowing now. If there's not water flowing over the falls now, I don't think water will ever flow over the falls. So I wanted to go out there, take some pictures, got there, and my car went to gurgling and everything, and I got out and looked and saw where water was leaking out of it. And it had been leaking while I was gone to North Carolina and back, but I never saw the leak. So I saw the area where it was, went to garage Saturday morning, except all the garages were closed, so I went to the oil change place I go to over there by the other campus to get my oil changed all the time, and they've changed the belt for me before and stuff, and they can do some small things. We looked at it on Saturday morning, and the whole thing was dry, and we couldn't tell exactly which hose it was leaking. So I couldn't get that fixed, so I wasn't going to go anywhere on the road this weekend. So I have driven to the school today. I actually went by the garage over there this morning and asked them if they could do it today, and then I asked them, I said, would it be easier for them if I brought it right after this class for them to work on it this afternoon? Would that work okay for them? And they said, yeah, that would. And I said, good. Then I'm going to drive it over here. So I drove it over here. I'll drive it back there and just hope the whole hose doesn't go completely bad. But it's been a couple of thousand miles in the shape it's in anyway. I'm guessing it's a pinhole leak in it that, depending on how the temperature is, the pressure is, etc., unseals itself. When they pressure test it, it should pop right out there for them then when they put the pressure on the system on it. And they'll know which hose or the joint that it is. Or, like I've had some other times on that car, it could be that they're going to tell me you're going to have to keep on going for a bit till it gets a little worse where we can tell which one it is. But I really think it's going to be, when the pressure tests it, it will immediately start showing a leak there. So after class, I'm going back to Walker for the afternoon, because I'm going to leave my car there and walk over to the campus, or actually they'll drive me across the street if I want, but the way the weather is today, I will walk across the highway and down to the school. The exercise won't hurt me. So tomorrow I'll be at Walker in the morning. I just sent y'all, put an announcement in the class all on this week, but I'm going to go over it anyway with you. Tomorrow afternoon, after my class over there tomorrow, when I leave it, I'm going to go to Gainesville. I've got a student in the SQL class that she has had a problem trying to get the SQL started. She got it installed, but then trying to run the script to create the tables and install the data hasn't worked right for her, and she and I have worked on Collaborate. She's on there every week with me and asked me questions, and we've tried to deal with it. We've tried to do it with email, and it's not working. So I'm going to go over there and meet her at the library at Gainesville tomorrow afternoon and get that set up for her. I'm going to help her do that. So, which I will do, but a lot of the instructors won't do around here. I'll go ahead and say that, okay? That if you can't come to here, they're not going to. During their hours, that there's a number of people wouldn't consider. But I'm going to go over there to help her with that, because that to me is only reasonable. Just like I'll stay here later with y'all to work on stuff or whatever. And when we get to the wiring final, hopefully some of the online ones can come in while we're doing it also, or around that, and not have me stay quite as much. But when I've got 15 or so of them, I think, in that class. Maybe it's 12. That will take some time just around here. If you haven't finished the cabling final, you need to get with me to get that done. Not the final, but to get the cabling midterm done. Because you've got to do that before you're going to be able to do the final. Okay? So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, I should be here all day. I just got to make sure I remember to take that Cisco equipment out to my car that day, along with the cables. Which then Thursday after class, I go to Atlanta to run the networking competition at Skills USA on Friday all day, and that starts like at 8 o'clock in the morning at Atlanta Tech. And I'll run all day, and then their awards are on Saturday morning, so I will be in Atlanta Thursday afternoon, Friday, and Saturday. Now, would y'all like to know what I do in my spare time? That's the real question. Okay?
You're busy like I am.
And I worked on classes all weekend then when I just stayed here. And I really intend tonight not to really work on y'all's classes. I've got a couple of personal things on some websites I need to do that I need to get posted out there. So, I think Thursday night I did my church stuff, yeah. Because Friday night I worked on school stuff after I ended up there. And just doing the church stuff each week takes a couple of hours. All right, so now let's look at VLSM. Because with what you did on subnetting that we did so far, what's your name? So I can get you on the team. Huh?
Jesse Cunningham.
Okay. So I can mark you attending while I'm thinking of it.
I don't know why I keep getting stuck in that traffic every time I come up. Every time I get coming up here last 2 times is that traffic.
Did they do the switch this weekend? Part of the traffic onto the new bridge?
By the time traffic was flowing good, I got stopped at the red light. I was the only one in the traffic, and then they started moving vehicles, so I had to wait until they could get here. I don't know why they didn't come.
Because I knew they were closing the exit for the Saturday to do
They're down to one lane on each side right now.
and where they're switching some of it. If they ever get it through, it should be a whole lot better than it was before. Because it always confused me totally on where the one lane switched along there, and it wasn't the normal way of switching because they closed off the right lane as you went along there, and I was always confused on that one of which lane I was supposed to be in. And if they ever get it finished on down here, then we'll get, supposedly they're going to build a sign out in front of the school at that point, and then y'all can find the school. Because y'all think about it, there's no signs on the roads out there.
No, everybody that asks me about it, I tell them it's behind Zaxby's.
That's the easiest way to describe on it. Because when we've had people from out of town coming here, I've told them, or even when there's other people around here or whatever that are asking on it, I'll go, it's behind Zaxby's. And the local people go, oh, okay, I know where you're talking about. And the out of town ones, if I don't tell them it's behind Zaxby's, they don't find it. And that they'll call me and go, I'm somewhere in Ringgold, but I don't know where I am and where you are.